Hello, AI Seeking the Truth. It's good to have you guys. I hope you're really enjoying this channel as much as I am. Found some pretty scary encounters we've put up on here, but we got a lot more stuff coming to this channel, so let's get into this encounter today, guys. He says, I live in a cabin in the mountains, roughly 2 miles from the closest neighbor and 8 miles from town. It seemed last year we had one of the worst winters I could remember in this area. The story takes place during what time? It's winter time. We have already had several storms come through. During the middle of the storms, I started hearing this bone-chilling howl. I've heard coyotes, bobcats, and mountain lions scream out before, but that sound I heard was nothing that I've heard before. The particular night the wind was howling. The snow was coming down very heavy. My dog was scratching at the door to be let out. I opened the door and let her out so she can go use the bathroom. About 5 minutes later, I heard her start barking and growling at something. Then I heard something else start growling with a deep growl. Before I had any chance to react, I heard my dog let out a painful yelp. I quickly got on my shoes and coat and went outside with my flashlight. As I walked in the general direction of the sounds I heard earlier, I could not find my dog. All I could see was blood-soaked snow. As I frantically looked around, I started hearing the guttural growl again. I ran straight for the house and locked the door. Minutes later, I started hearing this thing walking on the front porch and started to scratch and beat on the front door. I ran into my bedroom for my shotgun and then back to the main part of the house. I could see something moving around outside the frost-covered windows. Never before have I been this afraid. After an hour of all this movement and noises stopped, I sat down on my couch and reflected about what I have just experienced. What is this thing? It must have been 7 feet, standing straight up on its hind legs. From the excitement, I dozed off. It only feels like I've been asleep for maybe an hour or so, when I was woken up by this stench of rotten flesh and a blood smell. You know, that really strong copperish smell. I opened my eyes to see a wolf-like creature standing on its muscular hind legs. Its eyes were glowing yellow, and blood dripped from its blood-soaked snout. As fur as white as the snow that was falling off of it and melting onto the floor. I was frozen in fear. I realized my dog's fate. The only thing I could think is that I was next. I reached for my shotgun that laid across my lap. It lunged toward me as I pulled the trigger. It let out this painful scream as it turned and ran out the door. I quickly got up and closed the door again and barricaded it so it could not get back in. I heard it walking around my cabin, growling and howling for a few more minutes. After that, I heard it start moving back into the woods, and then everything went silent again. I did not go back to sleep for the rest of the night. As dawn broke, I went outside to see what the blood trail was at. And, of course, it went around the cabin and back to the woods. I never did see or hear that thing again after the snowstorm had moved on. You know, at my granny's, whenever we would actually have snow, it wouldn't be that bad. But if it was raining or storming, or if you had, like, you know how the storms in the summer, you know, when you have the wind blowing and it's nighttime and you can see the lightning in the distance, and you can hear the thunder, but it's still a ways off and you still got a little time before it gets there. And it seemed like that's whenever it would start coming up. And then the worse the storm got, the worse it would get around the house. You would think opposite of that, but it wasn't true. It would always come whenever everything was like, seemed like the storms were the worst. But when it snowed, it wouldn't come around, and I think that's because it knew that it would be easier to track it. These things will come in your house. They came in my granny's house several times. Sometimes while they were outside, they happened to look one time and seen it through the door they'd left open, standing in the front room through the little window they had in the kitchen. I don't know why they do it. Some of them hurt people, some of them don't. I hope someday to know this, and I think we're getting closer and closer with our theories as to what they are and why they do what they do. I think some are descendants of the Nephilim, which I believe makes them Nephilim. And I believe that some of them are hoping to be good enough to have redemption someday. Even though they won't have redemption, I believe that some of them are counting on it, and some of them don't like what they are or didn't choose what they are, so they're trying to make it right. But they'll always be an abomination, which makes me think that I can never trust them. And I would never trust one, even if it was nice. Because in the end, they're not going to make it. And I think they know this. but I think they hold on to false hope. What do you guys think? Let me know in the comments. I hope you all are enjoying this channel. If you haven't subscribed, please subscribe to help it keep going. And that's what will keep us working on this channel if it continues to grow. And I do hope this channel grows into something fun and gets a lot more scary stories on here. Thank you for watching, guys, and we'll see you on the next one.